Oh, it's at 21. Well, I'm a little bit far from my mic right now, but hi. Hi everyone, thank you for the follow. I can't keep up with all the follows that I get, but I'll try my best. I like to do shoutouts for people. And I'm opening up Twitch on my phone so I make sure I see everyone's stuff. So, let's see here. Subscriptions. No, that's not what I want. Yes, please. Thank you for following. Let's see. Yeah, we got DJ Stalin, Darling Canine, and Berry Pink. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Alright, so I think I might as well get on with the show. So, first off, let me show you this setup. Alright. Right away, I need to adjust my camera. Just a little bit. And... hello! Yeah, my camera's at a really odd angle, so I hope you don't mind. But anyways, hello, my name's Eben. I am a stop-motion animator. I like monkeys and puppets. So that's pretty funky. I had a survey that I released a week before my actual panel started. So I'm gonna be answering those questions first, but I will get to the questions that were in chat as soon as I can. Anyways, hi. How about I start by giving you a tour of everything? So, you can see my green screen from here, but I'm not sure if you can see absolutely everything else. Oh, thank you. Yeah, flag. So, here's more stuff. You can see the light fixture. You can see the basement door. The basement, whatever you call it. It's a wall. And here's a bunch of garbage on a shelf. There's a lot of stuff that goes into making these puppets. And I'm not even going to bother showing you all of it, but just so you know, it's kind of a lot. Going back over here again. There's my mic. Hello. What the puppets are standing on right here is a piece of wood nailed down to other pieces of wood. They've got holes drilled in with them. That keeps the puppets standing up straight like this. So they're less likely to topple over by their own weight. So, let's go. More stuff. That's lighting. It's me again. There's a flag, the door to my basement, and the street. There's my fabrication table on the right, and then there's my computer table on the left. And down here, I don't think I can. Down here is the computer I use to hook everything up together. Now, we got all that sorted up. Let's start with something. Whoa! Alright, that's gonna be good for my own height. Yep, stream cam. Hello! Yeah, this is a lot easier for my back and everything. So, let me get my book that has all of the questions that I wanted to answer in order on it.
Here's my magical sketchbook. Everyone should have one.
Wow.
Oh, PM, you're rustling against the mic. Okay. Hi. This is a lot easier for me. Alright, so first off, we're talking about puppet construction. So, that already goes into, like, a big tangent. Not tangent, it's a lot of exposition, because most of the work that goes into puppet making is... or most of the work that goes into stop motion, I'd say like 70% of it, 75% is in the fabrication of these puppets. So, something that I start out doing every time that I make a puppet, I want to get these wings sorted out. So the first thing that I do when I make my puppets, I sketch them out in my notebook. And they're usually the size that I want them to be, and then there's some, like, concept art on the left, and then there's a random doodle right here, for no reason. So over here, let me zoom in for you. So over here, we have, our armature. This armature is composed of brass tubes, twisted metal wires, and clay. Also some, what do you call it? JB Weld to hold it all together. So I've got some here in a big bundle. You take one out, these tubes are like really thin. And they got a really small hole in them. So this tube allows for parts to pop into each other. So, oh, thank you. PM has been slain, yeah. They look like those chocolate sticks wrapped in a wafer cookie. Yes, they do. So, I'm gonna go back to my notes. So yeah, I start off with the armatures, and those are made of twisted wire, yeah. Something that I do with, my hands specifically. My stop motion hands. Is here against the green screen, it's better. We have a twisted wire to a loop with thinner twisted wire into their own loops, and those are going to act as the fingers. And the wire for the fingers are usually copper, but you can use it you can make it out of any thin material as long as it bends really easily. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. I learned about it, well, I started using that method before the teacher even taught us that, so I thought that was kind of funny. I think the second time I tried it, well, the first time I tried it was with a very cute doll, ended up looking very nice, but the second time I tried it was with Jade, and her hands are kind of crusty. You might not notice it up front, but they're a little wiggly, a little tight. They can only bend around this part of the hand, but it's enough to make her able to grab things. Like, you can see Beck right here. Let me unscrew this after all. Like, Beck right here, whatever, you can see it. Beck can hold on to this sword just fine, and there is no any sort of strings or wire that can make him hold on to this because of the way that the fingers are constructed. Yeah, you just have to make the fingers a little bit longer than how they would be in real life if you ever want them to hold on to anything. That's why, like, sometimes the puppets might look a little bit creepy if you have longer fingers than usual, but, you know, if it has the function that it was made for, then it's good. So, I got a question about breakage in my puppets, and yes, they break so much. I have to always prepare for when my puppets break. And that goes into the design for the puppets themselves. So, let me move this. Let me just save this. So, you've already seen PM, right? She just broke on camera. Look at that. This thing, I got paper wings that I cut out for her, and I taped it right here so that it could fold and bend really easily. But yeah, it just popped off during stream. So you gotta prepare for that and have a lot of extras on you. Rippin' PM. So yeah, you've gotta prepare for every sort of breakage there is. And that brings me to my next point in my puppet construction, where we have replaceable arms and joints and everything like that. So my next example is not going to be homestuck related, but it'll illustrate the point quite well. It is a nasty breakage that I would like to show off. So this puppet was made for a 4.5 minute film. And there was a lot of subtle movement in the hand gestures, and he was dancing, and at one point he gripped his hand with another puppet's fingers, which is why the fingers needed to be so long, so it could actually be that way. So in the very last stretch of the animation, the last part that was animated was him rubbing his arm like this, and it was seen from behind. So what happened was, the hand broke off. Not sure if it's, like, very visible or not. I don't have the lighting on it. But yeah, it just snapped off. It's kind of creepy. This is where I understand when people call puppets creepy. So yeah. You had to deal with that. It does sound like it took years to make, because it took, like, an entire semester to make, this puppet as well as the other puppet for my thesis. Because, I had some character design stuff that I was, like, flip-flopping between. Also, there was the dress fabrication, which was another ballgame. So, I saw this hand breakage and I thought, oh, this is really annoying. I thought this is really annoying because I already had a backup plan for this. I said this is really annoying instead of, oh my gosh, I'm going to die, I'm going to fail, I'm going to drop out. And I prevented a whole spiral because what I did ahead of time was I made replacement limbs for these characters. You can pop these bad boys in, you can pop them out. I have a layer of his skin covering the rest of the joint that popped off. It popped off at his wrist. Just snapped off. So, what I did was... Here we go. I made it so the, these bones in your arm, you could, pop them into each other. So, there's the empty hole. Here's the hand and wrist. So what I did is I just took it out, I just put in a new hand, and I popped it back in. It took a day to fix it, but that's because I didn't really prepare the hand ahead of time. But still, it's just like... The point of these brass tubes, instead of using just regular old, JB Weld to make the bones, it's to pop them in right like this. Now he has a really weird robot hand. But still, it works. And you can just peel the skin back and it's fine. Hello. So, this character also had this for his feet, so they could pop off. And that was a design choice because I had my characters swap their clothes halfway through the film. So it's sort of like Bratz dolls in that respect. I've never had a Bratz doll, but apparently it was a Bratz doll thing. So in my puppets for Beck, Becknor, PM, Jade, Aradiabot, and Vriska, those did not have those brass tube replacements, but Dave did. And that was just because I learned that technique back then. So now I have a really cool Dave, and his wrists didn't snap off like I thought they would, and the head didn't break like I thought they would, but both of them can pop off if you wanted it to, which is kind of funny. I should have made a Dirk puppet like that. Anyways, this is my funny little Dave puppet. Woo! He took a while to make. And over time, I've just been putting a lot more care and thought into all of my design work, all the fabrication, everything like that. Yeah. Also, thank you for following, yo, that's radical. Yeah, it seems like it could use a hand. Skin layer. Yes, there's a skin layer. Okay, yeah, there is that breakage issue that I had to deal with. So, once I did that, I did a funny thing that, Well, I took a bunch of foam, like this giant block of foam, and I cut it in half, and then I made a sandwich of my puppet, and I used adhesive spray to attach the puppet's armature skeleton to this foam. And from that point onwards, I was basically chiseling this puppet's body shape out of this foam. It's not very sustainable, but I've found a way where I can use recycled materials to, like recycled foam to do that. Like, my dad works with furniture, and he has a lot of pieces of furniture that he has to throw out, so I'm like, hey, can I get the trash? And he's like, I don't know why you want this trash, but here you go. And I'm like, thank you. So, yeah, that's another step in the process. The next step, once I have the foam on it, is I paint their skin. And I do this no matter how pale the character is, because the clay, it has a pink coating on it after it is fired. And the foam on the hands and the legs, that is a white color. And it's just gonna look mismatched and weird. But anyways, even before that, what I do is I wrap the hands themselves in medical tape, and then that way it gives some more like skin-like texture once I paint it. And it helps the movement in the hands and other areas look more natural. And yeah, also just be easier anyways. If you couldn't tell, I know nothing about stop motion animation. Lord Farquaad pointing at the foam. White. Yeah. White picket fences. I don't remember the rest of the song. Alright, so next step after I finish the body is to make the clothing, which I had to learn how to make, like, clothing using draftsmanship, which was something that I didn't know how to do beforehand. I thank every single Homestuck cosplayer for posting video tutorials of how they made their clothing, because otherwise I would have no idea how to make Dave's cape the way I did. Like, it's so simple, and even the hoodie works. Like, I can't pull it up without much effort right now, but it's fully functional. And I bet I could make it in real life, too. Like, beforehand, all I could do was like, oh yeah, a skirt. And I don't know, a dress. But yeah, I sew the clothes together, I make sure that they fit on the puppet, too. And then, if need be, I paint in the details, like the time symbol was one thing. The sides of his pant legs, they weren't that noticeable on the Reanimate, but, you know. Still. Yeah, like mini clothes. I'm just learning how to make dolls from the ground up. And I had no idea that I would do this and get so passionate about this until I went to college for it. Cosplayer, animator, symbiosis, yeah. We are mutually... I forget what that word is. Whatever. Anyways, yeah. So, we make the character. What I do afterwards, I won't go into all the steps to make hair. Just know that there are all different types of way to make hair for puppets. So, for what I did for Bec Noir and PM, I had their foam. I didn't really give them any clothing until after I put their fuzzy little hair on it. But you can see that she has like a really fluffy textured surface. Also a tail that didn't show up in the Reanimate, but that's okay. It was there in spirit. So, what I did was, I took a bunch of synthetic cotton, sort of like the kind that you would find in Halloween stores for spider webs, and I took a needle, and I stabbed the puppet so many times. And that's called needle felting. That's one way to add texture and fur to your character. The easiest method that I've ever used for making puppet hair is Jade. Boop-a-doo-boo. All I did was unravel some yarn and just glue it to her head. It was the best thing. Saved so much time. Dave, the same synthetic cotton that I used for the puppet, for the PM puppet, I used for his hair, but around this edges of his head, I don't think this angle you can see it too well, but I gave him a bit of cornrows along the sides of his head. And those took a while, because I had to trim them, I had to measure them out, I had to glue them with hot glue without hot gluing my fingers, and that was not successful. I did hot glue my fingers. Hot glue? No, super glue. Ouch. Anyways. This one, I'm so lucky that this character, I got his hair from the garbage, in the stop motion room. This person was just throwing away their puppet hair, and they just, like, scalped their puppet. And I'm like, yoink! It saves so much time. But what you do for this hair is that you take wool or any sort of synthetic fiber and you glue it and you use a dog or a cat brush and brush it out a bunch of times. And it makes these wefts of hair. And you glue it on after making layers and layers of wefts. It's like making a wig. Like I said, I'm making dolls from scratch, and this means that I also have to make cosplay wigs from scratch, too. So, that's the hair. After that point, I think I'm ready to animate. So, when I start animating... Well, first, let me look at chat. Curious question, can you take off the glasses of Dave? Yes, I can. You want to see what he looks like? There's nothing there, Gordon. I've seen it. So, the same goes for Jade. She has nothing under her eyes. Under her glasses. Conveniently choosing characters with glasses so I can just cover up their eyes. It's great. And then I do a robot chicken style animation to draw their mouths and eyes and eyebrows on afterwards because I want them to emote. And I find it really fun to do that. It's sort of like rotoscoping. So let's see. Alright, we got 30 minutes left. It is terrifying, yes. But, oh yeah, close up on this puppet. It is the same Ain't got no eyeballs. And Jade, it's kind of hard to see, but it looks more natural with PM, and I don't have to do much editing in post to, you know, make it look less terrifying. So the next thing that I have to do is I have to make... Well, I didn't realize this was what it was called when I was doing it, but I made a dope sheet, or a X sheet, and what I did was I wrote down all the frames that things happen in the Reanimate, and I wrote down every single frame after going through the shot. Oh, this is this specific example of my Collide Reanimate. So I looked at the animation clip that was provided to me, and I, frame by frame, went and counted when each action took place. So I wrote that down, I counted each frame, and wrote down the action, and I can read it off to you. It goes a little something like this. Flying towards each other. Frame 1 through 24. Contacts of swords. 25 through 33. Zoom in on faces. 33 through 66. Fly up to top of box. Tape down feet. And let wings balance on ground. 67 to 72. Camera pan up while they have idle animation. That didn't happen, but that was from 75 to 90. PM slashes Beck. He parries. This happens twice. 91 to 95, 96 to 100, 101 to 114. And 101 to 114, it is hold with struggle. Beck leaps backward and flies forward. PM raises a sword to block. Beck flies and attacks PM, knocks her back a bit. Close up on their faces. PM flies back on the second platform. Beck stands on his. Beck flies forward and meets PM, parries. PM flies and lunges at Beck. There are a lot of frames. As you can see, this is a lot of stuff to work with. So it took, the fabrication took the most amount of time for these puppets, but it was also very tough to actually go forward and make sure that these things would animate correctly. Because there's the possibility of breakage, and these puppets did break. And if they didn't break, I didn't build them fast enough because I was under a very, very, very tight time constraint while I was doing this. So I made these X sheets to time out all the actions, and then I went forward animating it. And when I animated it, I was using Dragon Frame stop motion animation, which is expensive, but if you're a student, you get a discount, but it's also unfortunate that you need to be a student to get a discount. I will not go into my capitalism rant. Maybe even 3 frames. Could you imagine? Yeah. Toots. Farts. No! Jordan, don't fart! If I had to animate 3 frames, I would take a nap. If I had to animate... Okay, so... You say that, you can animate a 1-second clip where there are, 7 different frames, and there's a hold on it. And that can take an entire day, if you're the only one there. And the biggest thing that holds me back from actually animating is the lighting. Woo! Because I have to control all my lighting by myself. I'm not lucky enough to have anyone help me with this. So I have tiny little lights like this. They do not extend any taller than this. I have umbrella lights. You might have seen them before. Let me just rotate. These things are lights. And attached to the green screen is a circular light. I'm not sure if you can recognize it as that, but... And I have to control the lighting for the green screen to make sure that... Oh, let me get that shot again. Well, I have to control the lighting to the green screen to make sure that the lighting is even, but I also have to make sure that there's no spill of the green screen onto the puppets so that the puppets don't have any green on them because when I key out, when I get rid of the green part to make it transparent, if there's a little bit of green on the puppets, that makes that part of the animation transparent as well. And that's the last thing we want to do. So I animate it. I can't give you an example of stop motion animation right now, but hi there. You follow my channel and support me. Join my Discord. You can encourage me to make more stop motion animations. And in doing so, give me the opportunity to show you my work in action. Thank you. Okay. Let me show you something. So now, let's see. Art programs. And webcam off. There we go. So, let me turn this mic around. Okay. So now we've got Dragon Frame. This program is super cool. And it really makes animation a lot more easy for people to use. So we've got... Now let me get my mouse out. So we've got Beck right here. No, PM. We got PM right here. The background is poorly lit. I just wanted to take some pictures for advertisements for SAHcon, and I accidentally deleted a lot of the images. I am sorry. But anyways, this gives a good example of what the process is like. So, oh, thank you for the follow, Vagabond. Yeah. Join his Discord. Oh yeah, exclamation mark Discord is a way that you can join the Discord. So, we've got these frames, and say that I want to time them out differently. I can hold this frame for a little bit, and I press spacebar, and it plays for that long. You can see how quick everything goes on. So let's see if we can time that differently. Yep, that's another way you can do it. So another animation I was working on that I didn't get to show was something I'm working on for Jade Enter. This this is not my final product of it. This is actually just me posing a Radia bot just to test out how she would be seen in this different position. I also did another test and animation with her right over here. And this can show you exactly how the movement goes, but it can also show you how horrible your set can be if you don't light the green screen correctly. So, you can have this shot hold for a certain amount of time and then come up, and this is all there is to the action of the animation. PM our beloved. So, you can see all the frames on the right. Let's count them. Let's count all the unique frames. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 unique frames to this. And this is for a 1-second shot, and this actually is a little bit more complex than the original animation was for this part. So, yeah, you can manually hold frames on this, and I didn't do this for this part in particular, but something I can do is I can take this pencil tool and mark up this part of the Dragon Frame program. And this is how I helped myself time out different actions, and that helped me time out when the swords would clash against each other in my collide part. And if I do lip syncing, I might also like make an A sound right here, and then like ba, I don't know, ba, right here. And that's really helpful, especially because you can't write down directly on the frames you make. So yeah, that's what I do for animating on Dragon Frame. PM the beloved, yes. Alright. Webcam. Ooh! So, we are getting down to the wire here. I'm gonna quickly go through the rest. You saw most of my process. So the animating, and then there's post-production where you key up the background, put other stuff in it. It's a lot of work. But once you get the animation done, it is very satisfying. So, thank you for the burp compliment. So once I do that, yeah, it's just exporting that and then drawing over top of it. Most of your work's already done for you, but it's the little stuff, you know? So, I covered that. Yeah, so, animation for stop motion. 65% fabrication. I'd say 10% lighting. 10%... Okay. 15% lighting. 10% animation, and 10% post-production. That's my guess. Also, thank you for following Anxious Advent. That's a cool name. Y'all have really cool names. Anyways, we have puppet construction, the making of the project. So, 2 other questions that we have before we open up the floor. Show off puppets. So, here's Jade. This was the most commonly sought after puppet for this project. Can I please focus on you more? Will this help? Hello? Well, it helps a little bit. Here she is. Hello. So here she is. Since her design is just basically her character visuals, it has a lot of dark colors. Like her black dress, her black hair, her black everything. But I make it work with the lighting. And right now the lighting is not so great. So something new I added to her since Collide was I added a hood, and it's over her head with her weird little tail things. And I put her glasses up where otherwise they're hidden behind her hair. And I also added stockings before, because beforehand they were just painted onto her legs and they didn't look too good. So, here's Jade. Hello. I made her while I was just really panicking over... No, I was multitasking. Like, while I was working on a big animation for my junior thesis, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make 3 puppets and animate them alongside what I'm supposed to do. But that's just the fan art way. So, I already showed you Dave, I already showed you Beck, I already showed you Bailey, PM. So, I think I'll have a stable living space between working at camp, going to home, and dorm life, so I never have a large space to work with. Do you have any advice for creating a studio in these conditions? Also, hey Whiskey, you caught me during a convention Q&A session. Yes. So there are lots of different ways that you can actually do stop motion in small areas. All you need is a camera, a tripod, and something to animate with. Like, you don't need this big setup. I'm just really lucky that I have it. And I have the basement that can accommodate for me. So, let me show you. Well, might take a while, I don't know. Where are you? Where are you? I don't feel like getting that out. Anyways. So, this little gadget is a tripod that you can attach cameras to, anything that has this tripod mount screw to it. So, if you've got a small tripod like this, you can fit cameras in really tight spaces. There are also different tripods that you can have that you can attach your phone to. And there are also different phone applications that you can make a stop motion production with. Like, there's not just Flip-A-Clip. I've never used Flip a Clip, but, you know, different phone applications out there. And not only that, like, you can have a tripod, you can also hook it onto things. So if you're really tight on space, you can utilize Spider-Man skills. And I think the downside to not having a, like, big space is that you'd have to make really small puppets. And that means, like, it's kind of hard to work with them, but also you can just experiment for a while before you make any big puppets. Like, something I did to start with was just moving clay around. Like blobs of clay. You don't have to start big. So I think that's a good way to get into stop motion as a hobby, or to just, like, start you doing stop motion altogether. And from there, you just go. There are plenty of tools for you to do stop motion nowadays, and we're really lucky that we live in the age we are in terms of how much technology has advanced. So, yeah, that's one way I'd go about it, and you actually helped me answer one of the questions I already had. But you made it more specific, so thank you. So, yeah, that's one thing. Another question, or, you know, whatever that I had, from the questions I got from my survey is, show off your favorite puppet. And I just, like, thought to myself, man, what is my favorite puppet? And I have a lot that I really like. I have a least favorite puppet. First, let me show you my least favorite puppet. It is tied. For a while, I had a least favorite puppet because he was ugly. But he was functional. And I appreciate that of him. I could respect him for working. Being efficient. Let me show you my least favorite puppet. This puppet is the bane of my existence. Aradiabot, I hate you so much. You disgust me. You humiliate me. I spend so much time making your skeleton and structure, and you break, and you break, and you break. All you can do is raise an arm. Like, okay, she looks cool. She really looks cool, and she looks scary, and she served her purpose. But I hate this puppet so much. Aradiabot, I love you. This puppet, I hate so much. And it is entirely my fault that this happened. I used a very stiff wire while I was making this puppet. While I used this stiff wire, I also double twisted the wire, because that was how I made puppets. But in doing so, I got a very stiff Aradia. On top of that, I used stiff material throughout the whole thing. So, I didn't know what I was going to do about her, like, robot center, so what I did was I put some clay on it. You know, the, Crayola dry hardening stuff? I put that around her body, and it broke off so easily, but what was I expecting? But she can't bend her spine very easily at all. I have to, like, manually move it around. But when I do that, more of her chest just breaks off. And okay, I think it's, like, a really cool effect that I did. Like, I put magnets on her mouth so she could have different expressions, but the magnets don't work. The magnets get stuck, and I had to keep them in place with clay. I had to do so much improvising, and I had to suffer so much for this puppet. Thank you for letting me complain. Aradiabot. So anyways, you'll see her last performance in Jade Reanimated, so I hope you enjoy that when it comes out. I wanted to destroy her at the end. so you might enjoy my animation. I am beloathed, yeah. Beat her up, beat her up. Oh man, so yeah, that's my least favorite puppet. Now, I'm gonna just clear off some space. This is a mess. I'm sorry, guys. But something I really like, this quest bed, I'm going to be using in my Cascade Reanimated part. I didn't get the part yet, but I'm hoping that if I show them that I already made the bed, I get the part that I want. But yeah, it works perfectly. Like, she lies down on the bed, it's exactly her size, and Beck can stand over her intimidatingly. This is my pitch to Homestuck Reanimated. Please give me this part. Please, 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 you're everything. Anyways, that is my favorite prop. Now, my favorite puppet. This one is going to be unconventional. Manifesting. Thank you, I appreciate that. Here we go. Never before seen, and that is a lie. People have seen it before. I made a zoetrope. And whew, probably knocked the mic a bit. But anyways, I made a zoetrope. Isn't that cool? So this zoetrope has a bunch of sheep on it and a single lion. In the center there is a tree with some monkeys on a chain. And down here you can see the monkeys themselves. There's a 2D animation that I did traditionally, and I glued this on top of it. And when you spin it around, it animates. And it's not like anything you can, you know, do a live performance with. But you've probably seen in my animation reel, you've probably seen that animated like this part from two different angles. You haven't seen the monkeys on the chain too much, but that's okay. Anyways, that is my favorite puppet. That is technically not a puppet that we know of. Or it's something that's an unconventional puppet, I should say. Yeah, it's the monkey tree thing. So, yeah, that is my puppet. That is my favorite puppet. Yep, I did that for a music video commission that I did over the last year into this year. It hasn't been released publicly yet, but that's because the commissioner still hasn't decided on a posting date yet. But you can at least see my favorite clips if you watch my reel a lot. Yeah. So that's what I have prepared. I'm opening up the floor to anyone really quickly if they want to hear me talk about anything, more to my process, more to animation in general. Yeah. Eben, go ahead, Jordan. What's your question? What's your question? What's your question? Favorite song about puppets? You know the answer to that. I'm not a fan of puppeteers, but I have a nagging fear someone else is pulling the strings. Something terrible is going down through the entire town, speaking anarchy and all it brings. I can't sit idly, no, I can't move at all. I'd curse the name. Oh. How is it your ass so bad in personality and brain so huge and big and awesome? I had childhood trauma and late teenage, early adulthood trauma. I'm just kidding. Okay, this is a silly question. Where do you store all your puppets' prop gear? I kind of just, I have a shelf right over there that I have a lot of puppets, but it's running out of room and I need to make more space for that. My props go over there on top of a bunch of shelves, and my my gear, like my tools for creating stuff, also go on those shelves. I have them organized by different categories, like there are different tools that I have. I've got 3 bins dedicated to just scrap pieces of clothing that I want to turn into puppet clothing. I've got a bunch of scrap pieces of foam. I've got a lot of different chemicals that I shouldn't have. I've got a toaster oven for when I want to turn the clay into hardened clay for the faces. A lot of stuff. They're all on different shelves in my storage area. You missed it earlier, but I gave a whole tour of the place, but there's a VOD. Alright. My biggest inspiration in stop motion. Oh. Well, it started out as Laika. I think it... Honestly, it probably still is Laika. I really like Stupid Buddy Studios, but I don't watch enough of their stuff to say that I'm a huge fan. I just really like their comedy and environment. But Coraline really inspired me in a lot of different things, so I guess that's an answer. I guess also seeing other people's, like, independent art is inspiring to me. Like, I don't have, like, I'm not like, oh, Disney, or, oh, Lauren Faust. I'm like, well, this person that I knew in, college makes really nice art. Also, this person does really nice miniature sets and is really good with the lighting and After Effects, and it goes on like that. So, tips, suggestions for new animators, just do it. That's the biggest thing. Came to chat. Oh, that's fine. If you had to pick a Homestuck character that you'd want to make a puppet, who do you think you dislike having to make? Dislike. Well, someone that I really want to make a puppet of, but I don't think I'll have enough time or resources to make. I would like to make, I'd love to make a Dave Pettis sprite, but I feel like that would be a lot of moving parts and not the best idea. Something I do want to make is maybe a Dave sprite puppet, because I don't need to worry about limbs, and I can also have a fly rig for it. And I didn't talk too much about fly rigs, but it's basically you have a bunch of wires, and you can attach it to the back of the character, and you can have it float around in front of the screen. And then what you do is you just erase the pull in the butt. I can't think of a better way to say it. Did I miss any questions? Yes. Animated movie. What has been your favorite puppet? Fave project. There's a lot of questions. I have 5 minutes left. Well, just to talk more about the tips for animators, just starting off, just animation in general, just do it is a good tip. I wouldn't start with digital animation. I know I sound like an old coot with this, but you don't even have to start with traditional animation. I'd say starting with stop motion might even be better, because you learn more about the methods of one picture and then go on, and then your movement and your timing with that. And then you just learn naturally. I know when I started, I was using Flipnote Hatena, and I wasn't taught anything. I was just looking at what people did and doing it myself. So, just go into it. And there are also some really good online resources. Check them out. Yeah, with the wings and glowing and claws, yeah. Yeah, that would be a lot. Yeah. Least favorite animated movies. I'm sure that I have a animated movie that I get really mad about. Also, Butler, are you streaming? Butler? Jordan. Jordan, are you streaming? That's an offhand comment. So, Let's see if I missed anything. Bastard of Epic Collection. Biggest inspo. Yeah, I guess I'll think more about the... Alright. My favorite puppet to create. I think with Dave, because I knew what I was doing, Dave was really fun to create, so I was, like, more therapeutic than anything. I think... Oh, I forgot to show you some other cool puppets that I have. But we have 1 minute left. So, I gotta say, first, thank you for coming. If you want to ask more questions, I have a Discord. You can pop in and ask me there. And I'll be, yeah. Yeah, ask me in Discord, and then I'll get a answer to you then. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the Discord. So, let's see. Parting gift. Look at this cow. Look at this cow. Her name is Dorthaline, and she has spots on her that are hearts, and her little nose snout is a heart. She is fat fuck. She's adorable. When I was making her, this was the second puppet that I've ever made. The first one was a cute little babushka, and that was really fun. Fun fact, her ankle snapped, and she can't actually have any of her feet drilled into the table. But she can animate her tail, and she can barely animate her head, but I can make her ears wiggle. And you know what? She served the purpose, and the animation turned out really nice. She's straight chillin', yeah. So, I'm gonna end there. Thank you for coming. Yeah. Living her best life. So, we've got other panels going on right now. So, let's see. Ending soon. We've got other panels going on right now, but let me just end the stream first, because I've already went on over time. And, alright, record.